Welcome to Art's Place, conservative talk from a different view, from the Casablanca studio in Golden, Colorado. Hosted by Art Carlson. At 4'6", liberals fear him, and conservatives love him. He's definitely a giant among men. Now here's your host, Art Carlson.
Yeah! Welcome to another episode of Art's Place Conservative Talk. We've got a great show today. Lloyd Mendenhall will be in just a bit, but today we're going to be talking about Joe Biden in Afghanistan. That may take up a whole freaking show. And, hey, how about our allies being put on hold for 36 hours? That's really, you're doing a great job, Joe. So, let's get this show going and bring up my host all the way from Muskogee, Oklahoma. It is Lloyd Mendenhall.
Hello, everyone. How y'all doing?
I'm doing good. Slowly building up. Okay,
Yeah,
we're up to 3 people watching. Okay, cool.
Oh, well, that's good. That's good. Yeah. Oh, my God. What?
All right, where shall we
politics.
start, huh?
the term Charlie Foxtrot comes to
Oh,
mind.
yes.
Major, major, major Charlie Foxtrot. This is the height of, I don't know if it's stupidity, arrogance, ineptitude, or all the above.
I think it's all of the above.
I have been livid for a week now, or since this started. I've just,
Right.
having served. First off, hats off to all of the veterans out there that served and fought in this war that did our country proud. It's not your fault that you got a bunch of ignoramuses up there that are wearing stars on their shoulders or have the title of commander in chief. He's like, what a friggin' I honestly, I am refraining from using the F-bomb. I have used it so much on the phone with people, and
I know. I've been listening to the talk shows. One talk show that I listen to is the Ross Kaminsky show. He's a
right.
local conservative. He's a well, he's more libertarian, small L. So he's not full net wing job. He's reasonable.
Yeah.
And he's been talking about this almost all week, and he rarely ever talks about a subject all week. But this was, I mean, like what he said, Ross said, this was like watching a slow motion terrorist attack.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The sad part about this terrorist attack, it was all infiltrated from the inside. It was all done by our government. They set up everything for these terrorists to attack us. Well, I'll let you go on with your talking points, and then I'll add to that because I've got some.
Right. Well, evidently, in the negotiations, I guess we gave the Taliban some money to kind of, get things going. And it turns out they were taking that money and they were bribing all the guys that we trained and said, here, we won't kill you or your family. Here's some money. When time comes, put your arms down and leave. And that's what happened. And it was just what gets me is our intelligence there didn't even catch on to this. I mean, we got all of this hardware that we just left there. What we should have done is we should have blown it all up before we left. That way they wouldn't have all this stuff. What we should have done is, that Bagram Air Base should just level the place. That way they wouldn't have, another training ground for terrorists to start. And
well, here let me go through a couple of these points as I see them and observe them, and with some knowledge and some experience that I've had. 1978. Let's go back to 78. Let's put a little history here. Right. We had the Shah of Iran who was slowly dying, and his situation was deteriorating. A lot of protest. They had a duly elected government, but Jimmy Carter and his ideals, the fact that I'll answer that in a minute, Chris. But the ideals that Jimmy Carter's thought was that these were religious people, so they would, they worshipped Allah, which is their version of God. They wouldn't be bad people. So he decided to he thought a religious formed government would be better than what the attitude of the Shah and his government. So, but December 78. November, December 78. the military went in and started withdrawing people. We went in and found our advisors. We went in and found key people that needed to be pulled out. We went in and got civilians that needed to. There were a lot of these were civilians, and we got these people out. It just looked like a hello Drone Life RC. It looked like just a standard drawdown. It was very calmly done. We there was a few firefights in certain areas of Tehran because it was already deteriorating. But we did the drawdown. Our last, we left Tehran, and then we dropped off at the base out there that ended up having the bungled rescue mission after the hostages were taken. Had at that time the ambassador chose to leave and we pulled the embassy, we could have withdrawn the embassy and the ambassadors out long before the hostage situation ever happened.
Right.
We had everything in place, and we did a proper drawdown, and that's why we didn't. You notice the only problem we had with Iran, those that remember it, was the hostages, and that was strictly the embassy. By then, as I make my 8-hour drive home from Minefield, okay. But anyways, that was the situation there. That's how it was done. That's how it could have been done here. Now, second, we should have never given up Bagram, period. It's just as easy to do our evacuations from Bagram. As a matter of fact, it would have been easier. That is the most impenetrable base that they had. That was built by the Russians, and it was never penetrated. We had it set up. It was the most secure place in that part of the country, and we should have done our evacuations from there. That's just that simple. We had the corridor coming into it. The people could have got to it. We should also have been going out to as each one of these provinces started falling to the Taliban. We should have been bringing our people forward. It's just that simple. You start bringing your people forward. This idiocy that let's leave from the airport. Are you friggin' kidding me? Yeah. This is the most insane, inept stupidity. And the intelligence people did know. They were warning the president that this would happen. They may not. And the thing is, we should have left Afghanistan after Osama. It should have been that simple. You're right, Drone Life RC. We needed to leave Afghanistan. Now, Biden keeps saying that this deal was forced on him by the Biden administration. This was not the deal. Trump administration. Yeah, I'm sorry. But this was not the deal. It was contingent on the situation on the ground. Right. They would have never done this, under Donald Trump. It's just that simple, because he let them know straight up, I will come in there and take you out. The idea that the Taliban could be a party just like the Tories in England, or the liberal, or the whatever group there are in different parts of the country, that's what they were supposed to be. That was it. And second, the one reason that this army fell so fast is, one, we would have never trained. Our approach to Afghanistan was wrong from the beginning. The way we dealt with it, we should have made the decision when we went in there. We were going to wipe that country out. We were going to take care of everything, get rid of the Taliban, destroy the Taliban, destroy Al Qaeda, destroy anything they had of being able to make terrorists. Second, this is a country that is based on tribal hierarchy. In other words, you have your tribal leaders, you have they're calling them warlords now, but they're just simply the tribal leaders. Right. These are a migrating, they're sheep herders and camel jockeys, that have they live in the mountains, and they're a rough people. They've lived there. They've lived like this for over 1,000 years, and they have a hierarchy. We should have trained to incorporate that. We should have gone to each province and each area and said, "Listen, here is your leader of your tribe. We'll make
Mm-hmm.
him in charge, and then we'll support him and go down." It's just we
Yep.
didn't understand, or our politicians, and that's the other thing, letting politicians run a friggin' war instead of the generals, the boots on the ground. That's always a bad idea. It was bad.
Yep.
It was bad in Saigon. It's bad here.
Mm-hmm.
It was, it's just, yes. I can point out 1,000 things they did wrong. Obama started replacing any general that would argue with him. So now we got Silly Millie as the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. That little,
Yeah.
who was more worried about, being too white or being too non-inclusive of, whoever.
Yep.
Fight me, General.
Yep. And also, Biden, he told the intelligence community, he said, F that, this is not like Saigon. Nixon and Kissinger, they got away with it.
Yeah, exactly. But
the problem with that thinking was, it's a whole different situation where they weren't. I'm trying to remember how it was put, but it was. This is more like the Iranian crisis than Saigon.
It is. Yeah, exactly. I don't know what's going on with that. My camera's not working in where I monitor Judy for some reason right now. I'll have to. Ooh, looks like my router is acting up. So I may get sketchy here for a little bit. So
okay.
I just happened to look over and see it. And usually I check that, but yeah, this is exactly like the Iranian situation. This is a complete different thing. And also, you got to remember, by 1973, we had pretty well left Vietnam. We pulled out. 90% of our troops were out of Vietnam. Maybe 95%. All we had left was just we were still supporting. The other thing is we trained this army in the way we train ours. We trained them like ours, and that is the ground troops do the groundwork, but they have air support. We pulled our air support out in the middle of the friggin' night, and that's another thing that just pissed me off, is that we snuck out like a bunch of cowards. I mean, are you friggin' kidding me? This is the most just inept, stupid, ignorant, disgusting thing that I have ever seen by a president of the United States. And then, I'll let you go on, because I know you're going to talk about his stumbling over stuff and his blunders and the stuff he says at press conferences is just unfriggin' believable.
I know, that's a whole nother topic there. And now his vice president is not happy with him, because now she's thinking, well, crap, he's trying to pin this on me. I don't want to have anything to do with this. And so she's, you're right, Drone Life, RC. It's unbelievable. Boris Johnson had tried to get hold of Biden. It took him 36 hours to get back with him. What the hell is going on?
Yeah, and yeah, they didn't even let their allies know. They did this. They put our allies in the position that they had to start pulling down too. Now here's the difference. Good God, even the French are going out door to door trying to find their people. What the hell? This is the nation of mimes, the people that created mimes, and they're still doing it, And Drone Life RC, you're right. I've watched several interviews of people that this was, a year ago. They said that one, you had to do a mission before payday, because once payday came around, the soldiers were gone. They were either late coming back, or they came back not in good condition, or they weren't back for 3 or 4 days. So they knew they had to do. I mean, this guy right here, he's my guest star this week. He's the president of the United States, because he could do a better job than that idiot we got in the White House now. And I think there needs to be. I think there needs to be a lot of. One, we need to get rid of this guy. We need to have him impeached, and I think we need to investigate Kamala. Because she, of course, I know why she's staying out of it, because she doesn't want to be. She wants to disassociate herself so that when she comes in, she says, "I had nothing to do with that. My slate is clean," and this is why she hasn't gone down to the border. To deal with that. This is why, he keeps trying to give her jobs, and she keeps refusing to do them, because she knows he's going. Eventually, he'll be out of there, and she doesn't want to. The other thing that I've heard was that this was strictly a ploy for people. You notice the news agencies, up until this just blew up in their face, they've all been, Biden, and, let's, we got this problem over there in Afghanistan. We got to keep putting people in there, blah, blah, blah. A lot of people got rich or got power off of this war. We got retired generals now, and retired colonels and stuff that are now working for news agencies because of their position in the Afghan war or the Iraq war. We've got people they use this as a way to help push their position up in power. Plus, a lot of people got rich. We got a lot of people that went out of the military and then came back in as private contractors. Yeah, right now Harris is in another country. Yeah, France sent troops to get their people out, and we can't do it. Up until this moment, this place was under control, and we had 2,500 troops. That was it. He pulls those out and then has to send 6,000 back. Charlie Foxtrot in its best definition.
So, did you see the interview with Brian Williams with what's that guy's name, Zellner?
No, I didn't see that one.
This guy, he just gave it back to Brian Williams. Brian Williams, basically was trying to make it look like, Biden is confident. He said the buck stops with him, and this guy, just went off on him and said, I don't know what press conference you guys were watching, but I was talking to this administration from the get-go on how to do all this. And they just totally screwed everything up.
Biden is determined that he knows what's best. Rangers behind me trying to... he's just... my cousin and I talked about this. If Biden is being handled by people, if Biden is not in control like we've thought for the last 6 months, 7 months, suddenly he stepped up and he decided to take control. So has he just been, has he personally been completely inept, or, which we all know he is, but what's going on here? Because before, he'd say, well, I get in trouble if I say this, or, he had handlers that were dealing with him. And now all of a sudden it's like they just took the collar off. Is this their ploy to get him out, invoke the 25th? Does this, I think there's political jockeying, and they're using, we got 15,000 American citizens stuck over there.
Yep. And I think Obama, he's the one that's behind all this. He's the one pulling the strings.
Oh, I have no doubt. I felt that for
Yeah.
quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Harris, she's almost as inept as he is. I mean, all she could do is cackle.
Yeah, every time she gets nervous, she starts laughing, and I saw that. Is she going to start? That's why they're keeping her away from a microphone, because they're afraid. Because every time she can't answer questions, she starts laughing. It's just a triggered reaction of hers, and they're scared she'll start cackling, and this ain't the time for her ignorance to be showing. And because, I mean, here's the thing: we've got three choices. We can keep the guy we got. Can you do what, Art? Let's see. During the president's campaign, Harris was all about. Let's see.
Oh,
Oh,
I
yeah.
guess.
You do that again. Yeah. Anyways, we got three choices looking at us right now. You can have one. We can push our Congress people to, or our representatives to, and our senators to invoke the
Impeach.
25th Amendment. Well,
Or,
impeach
yes.
and or invoke the 25th Amendment and have Biden removed from office. That leaves us Harris. Okay, now Harris has got to pick a vice presidential candidate. Now, who's that going to be? What are we going to have? Are we going to have Omar? Are we going to have
Elizabeth Warren?
Elizabeth Warren? Are we going to have OCD or whatever that idiot, Cortez? Are we going to have her up there? Who's she going to pick?
Schumer, or how about who's that communist from Vermont? Sanders.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Sanders. Yeah, her and Bernie. Feel the burn. Yeah, we're all feeling the burn right now. And there's other things that I saw. Like, did you see the stack of American money that was left in the palace?
No.
We're talking pallets. They were squares this big and this thick and that wide. Okay, that was just one bundle. All $100 bills, U.S. American $100 bills, and there was the pallets were probably 4 layers high, and rows of 4 across, and 4, a square of 4 of these, or maybe 8 of these bundles. I don't know. And there must have been 10 of those or 15 of those bundles. They said that when the president of Afghanistan left, he almost couldn't get his door to the helicopter shut because he had so much money in there that he was taking with him. This is U.S. American dollars. Now, should they, let's say they decide, hey, we want to start dealing with Russian and Chinese arms. Now, Russia comes up and says, we'll sell them to you for $2 a pop. They said, no. That's not right. And they said, well, what do you want? $1? And I said, oh no, we want to pay $10 a piece. Inflation, artificially inflation done with U.S. American dollars, and they can destroy our economy that way. That was my first thought. They have the ability to destroy our economy because we left so much money, not counting the aircraft. During the Iran situation, when they were doing withdrawals, when that was done, the troops there that were doing the drawdown on the people, if they couldn't get the vehicles out because of time or logistics or whatever, they were destroyed. I know of one Jeep that was brought up on the tarmac, left running, with about a pound of sugar put in the tank just before the aircraft took off, and it was left to run. And all of the ground vehicles that were done that way, they were destroyed. Now we didn't do that with our aircraft necessarily because Iran still has an air force, and those planes were provided initially by us, and all of the pilots. This is the difference with Afghanistan. We learned from Iran not to train and to provide. Yeah, we left aircraft there, but now they've got to get trained pilots in. They've got to bring somebody in from the outside to train their pilots.
Well, we did train some pilots.
Some,
Yeah.
but
And they're
we
here in the United States right now
exactly.
because they know that if they'd stay, they would have been killed and their families would have been killed.
Right.
So, yeah, that talk show host I told you about, he had a woman on his show, Afghani. She was
Yeah.
a pilot, and she is now here in the United States, and she has no contact with her family back there.
Oh yeah, it's and we're like the Australian news is showing the Taliban in U.S. military uniforms. I saw the same thing. If you guys can get it on your phone, or if you just go check out. It's called the Australia Channel, and what it is the Australia Channel is their app, and it's Sky News Australia. They're going to give it to you. They're conservative, and they had one of their top their number one person said some things that were across the line. He crossed the line.
Oh,
They suspended him for a week. They said,
oh,
not acceptable.
yes, I remember.
Yeah,
I heard
they
something.
suspended him for a week. Well, YouTube and all of their and they pulled down his interviews when they had factual evidence that what he said was just him, like me getting fired up here. He just kind of overstated something without real. He didn't have he didn't have hard evidence. It just was
back it up.
It became too opinionated and it was too far across the line. So they pulled down that interview and they suspended him for 1 week.
Wow.
Which that's self-policing, and they did a good job. YouTube decided to take it further, and they pulled down all of Australia's news stuff for 3 or 4 days. Even though they'd already corrected it, they'd already pulled it down from all their social medias and everything. It's called the Australia Channel, I think. Let me check my phone. Greg from Oz by Drone actually told me about it. Let's see if I've got it here.
Cool.
Yeah, I think it's called the Australia Channel. I don't have it on this phone. It's on my iPad. But yeah, just go to the App Store and type in the Australia Channel. It says provided. Let me see if I can find it.
So did you see that photograph of the Taliban leaders at the presidential palace, and he had the guards behind him? Have you seen that photo?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Take a look at that photo, and they're all holding their rifles. Notice how their finger is not on the trigger.
Oh, really?
So we know that those were our guys that we trained. They just switched sides.
Yeah.
And somebody pointed that out on that radio show. And go, oh, interesting. Sky News Australia is what Drone Life.
Yeah. It is called. I'll show it there. It's called the Australia Channel.
Oh, Australia Channel. Okay.
And that will give you all of the updates. Sky News Australia is good too. Just don't get ABC Australia because that's the liberal. But that's the one you really want right there.
Right.
They'll have all of their stuff you can get in, but you can also download the live Sky News. Anyways, and I don't have it on my phone. I have it on my iPad, which, breaking news, got a new iPad, 12.9, 2021, Generation 5. Does all sorts of crap, and I don't know what it does yet because it comes charged 69%. Of course, if you do anything on an iPad and you use that little brick that they give you to charge it with, that thing charges at about 25 watts. The thing uses 30 watts. So if you do anything, guess what? It starts discharging as you're using it, so it's not charging up. Or it might hold its own, but it's not going to charge, so you have to stop using it. What I did was I bought a while back. I bought like a 65-watt smart charger that I can plug in 4 things, and it takes and goes from what needs to charge. It gives it the most, and then trickles down. So, but then they give you it uses the USB-C or the Lightning 3, whatever you want to call it, which is, but it uses a cord about that long. Well, you can't do anything with cord that long, so I had to go, and then I had to go to AT&T yesterday and get them to activate. But that's another story. But we're back on this stuff. This stuff is just there's no reason for us to have left. I mean, if we had down to hello, Mike B. If we had it down to 2,500 troops, we should have already shipped that stuff out. We should have already been pulling that stuff out. I mean, they had C-17s. There's nothing they can't put on a C-17, They could have brought in some old C-5s,
Yep.
There's no reason for them to have left that equipment. And it still comes back to what the hell were they thinking leaving Bagram?
Yep, that's right.
Why the hell couldn't they evacuate from Bagram?
Yep.
This
Your guess is as good as mine.
Here's the thing. When these officers in the military, when they take their oath, they will fight the enemies, both foreign and domestic. If they were following their oath, they should have informed that president that is not going to float. And if he says, I'm the commander in chief, well, then you go to Congress, to head of you go to the, we got a Secretary of Defense. I'm trying to keep this as family oriented. If I let loose the way I want to, it's just I'm gonna be.
We'll do that on Monday.
Yeah, we'll do it on Monday. Yeah, I'll probably lose another 3 or 4. Expect Monday to be a bitch fest.
A barn burner.
Yep, it is going to be a barn burner because I am still livid.
Oh yeah, I know. This whole week has been I'm like going, he's making Jimmy Carter look almost normal.
I served under Jimmy Carter. Like I said, Iran, 1978. I know what was going on there. I know what was going on there. Let's just put it that way, okay?
All right, so
we'll leave it at that.
Let's do a little economic stuff that Biden's screwing up. So there's been this meme going around, and I posted it on my page showing how much certain items cost a year ago compared to here. And some of my liberal friends are, they're poo-pooing it. Oh yeah, any high school economics kid could tell you that. And then it even got flagged by PolitiFact. And they're and I'm reading this and I'm like going, you're kidding. No, that's not why things cost more. It all goes back to Biden, canceling the Keystone pipeline and canceling all the oil leases up in Alaska and offshore. Yeah. So basically, he cut off all our domestic oil. And so now we got to buy oil again from overseas, and that's what's driving up the price.
Right,
because he's cutting our supply that we have here that would cost a lot less than to import it from another country. That's why everything else is more expensive.
Let me give you an example. And this is just, can call it economics or whatever. What is what is it? The domestic. I can't remember the name of it. It's the domestic price indicator or whatever they call it. Where they Social Security, they base their pay raise
Oh
on
yeah, the GDP and inflation.
GDP.
COLA.
Yeah.
COLA.
Yeah, well, for the COLA, the cost of living allowance, but they use an indicator of that. I think it's the GDP.
Yeah, it's consumer prices and inflation.
Right. Under the last raise under Trump, which was a year ago, because we get it the first of the year. Social Security and the veterans both get the same
Right.
amount, and it's all based. You get a percentage. It was, I think, at the height of the economy really going good, just before we had low inflation, and that was just before COVID hit, when our economy was booming. We had I think we got maybe 1.2%
Right.
pay increase COLA.
It was
all right?
really low. It was at
Really
2
low.
or below 2%.
It's estimated just since last year, it was only like 1.4 or 1.5%. The estimations I see coming in right now are 6.7 to 7.8% COLA, cost of
Wow.
living allowance, in 1 year. I've never seen that. And I've been retired for years and getting this, so I've been watching it, and this will be the biggest. They're saying this is going to be the biggest cost of living allowance, and they haven't changed the way they have not changed. And part of the problem is the way they figure it. They'll give you a basic cost of living. Well, one thing may be not rising, but other things are, and they don't add that into it, and that's been the gripe for years. They haven't changed that. The problem is inflation is, and they can say it's because everybody's going back to work and stuff like that. That's not it. I got to thank Biden for the pay raise, but good God, I was paying $1.69, anywhere from $1.59 to $1.69 for a gallon of gas. Now it's $2.95 in 1 year.
It's
Or less than a year.
$3.59 here in Denver.
Well, I got it for like $2.79, but I've noticed a lot of the stations had hit $2.95 just in the last 3 or 4 days. So it's like,
Right.
This economy is, we're looking at another major recession coming up within the next 6 months, and it's all based on this. It's based on the oil market, really. Even though it just sold for like $60 a barrel Friday, I think it closed at $61 a barrel, which is a drop. It was a drop in price, but we're going to be paying $150 a barrel for gas or for oil in the near future.
And Biden is talking about we need to go after the oil companies because price of oil has dropped. How come price of gasoline hasn't dropped? Well, there are several things. Number one, you got each state or region in the country they have to have a different blend of gasoline depending on air pollution. Some states are more strict than others.
Right.
Number two, he's cut domestic production by canceling leases and pipeline construction. And now he's going around, he's talking to the Russians and OPEC and say, could you please increase your output so we can have cheaper oil? I mean, really?
This man, he has an ideology that he's had for 50 years in office, and he has come to that point where he only remembers a certain amount of his, because of his declining mental status, which is a whole nother story. this he truly believes he believes his bullshit. Excuse my language, but he believes his bullshit.
Yep.
He's taught it. He's preached it for so long. That well, at least he's not. I'll give him credit. At least they're handling him enough. He's not saying like this is a big effing deal like he did behind Obama on the hot mic that time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. That's right.
Personally, I'd like to see that. I think it would be funny. We'd have memes all over the place. But yeah, there is no limit to the hypocrisy and the idiocy of this president. I think it's unlimited. But if we get Kamala Harris in, and that's the reason Kamala's staying hidden, is because she wants to be able to come in there semi-unblemished. Because, listen, she hasn't done anything. I mean, even when she was running for president, people didn't vote for her because she had a skeleton in her closet. They didn't vote for her because
she hasn't accomplished anything.
She hasn't done anything.
Slept her way to the top.
That's it, Monica Lewinsky is probably more qualified.
That's true.
And I think Monica Lewinsky is a conservative, though, now, so I don't think that would work.
Oh.
Yeah, my understanding is that she has become a Republican, so. Anyway,
wow. It'd be something if Meghan McCain would be a Republican.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah. This
last week when I was flying with Chris Murdoch, and we were talking about Harris's, is she qualified to be president? Because her parents were not born in the United States, but she was born in the United States. So I think that's where I kind of disagreed with Chris. I go, and then he got me thinking. I'm like, oh, now wait a minute. If her parents weren't born here, is she technically qualified to be president?
Well, that's what I was trying to figure out, and I think if her parents were U.S. citizens, even though they're not born here, but if they were U.S. citizens at the time she was born, and she was born here in the United States, she qualifies as president.
Okay, all right, that
if I remember that right. But I'll have.
Otherwise, if she didn't qualify, then the Speaker of the House would become president.
Right. And therein lies the next problem. As I said, we got three things. We can get rid of Biden under the 25th and or impeachment. That would put Harris in position. She would she would nominate her own vice president. I think, does the vice president have to be ratified by the Senate or not?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
No, because remember the brouhaha when Ford picked he picked Rockefeller, didn't he?
Rockefeller. Yeah, he picked Rockefeller. Yeah. And so
Nelson
Rockefeller. Yeah, Nelson Rockefeller. And that's the thing. So she picked somebody that God knows who they are. We have no choice in it. Then she's removed from office for whatever reason. Okay, which would be the next step. Well, if you were hatched here in the United States, Mike, yes. As long as you were hatched here in the United States, that's you do qualify.
You qualify as an omelet.
Yes, yeah. Hey, you got to break a few eggs to get an omelet.
Yeah, that's right.
So, but that reminds me of it. I watched the that series Watchmen, based off of the comic book. Living in Oklahoma, I mean, you you talk about cancel culture. Oh
Yeah.
my God. It's like,
Mm.
yeah. Anyways, that's another story. And,
Yeah.
you know, uh, but,
Yeah, but
but
think
yeah, I mean,
about this. We elected a dumbass. He's more dangerous with a pen than some smartass who put out tweets.
yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And here is the most dangerous part of it all.
Mm-hmm.
China is going to invade Taiwan.
Yeah, that's. Oh, yeah. There's another
because
thing we could.
because they know we're not going to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
We just yesterday, I think the Defense Department just got hacked.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
their servers got hacked yesterday.
Oh boy.
But Biden told them they couldn't hack that. So what's he going to do about it?
Oh, I thought he told the Russians that don't hack our State Department
Yeah,
or
well, they hacked it.
Defense Department.
They hacked it this week. There was I can't remember. My cousin tweeted it to me, and he watches. I can't stand to watch the news anymore. It's
Yeah, same here. That's why I
uh,
was surprised when I heard you tell me about that. I'm like, well,
yeah.
oh.
Let's see if
But
I can.
yeah, and that was my thought exactly because one of my followers of Artco, Shani, who's got My Life's vlog. She
Right.
works in Taiwan. She is a Philippine OFW working in Taiwan. She
Right.
is a caregiver, and I was thinking about her, and I want to send her a message saying, "Get the hell out of there."
Yeah,
But
and not only that. I mean, look what we did to our allies, Australia
yeah,
and England.
mm-hmm,
We left in the middle of the night and didn't inform them, and put
mm-hmm,
them on a 36-hour hold.
yep,
They will not trust us.
mm.
They wouldn't trust Biden to change a bedpan now.
But didn't Biden's run on saying we need to elect an adult to run the country?
Oh, well, not only that. Let's just cut two things we haven't covered. And I know we're getting close on time, but two major things that we
Okay,
haven't covered in his last press conference. One, did you know that Al Qaeda is gone from Afghanistan?
really?
That's what he said. We have no interest to be in Afghanistan. This was in his last press conference. I watched it,
Oh boy.
and he says one of the news agencies. Of course, he went down his selected list of people, and one of them asked. He goes, why would we have no interest in Afghanistan? We went in there to get Osama bin Laden and to destroy Al Qaeda. Al Qaeda does not exist in Afghanistan anymore.
Wow.
He said it outright.
Wow.
Okay.
Amazing.
And then then the NPR, this is when he finally shut off the press conference and walked out stomping, holding his breath and, carrying on. NPR asked, what about the criticism you've been getting from your NATO allies and from the countries of our allies? What about that criticism? He says, I'm not getting any criticism from it. Matter of fact, it's just the opposite. They're supporting me 100%. And he looks over to, I don't know, the Secretary of Dumbass. Oh, the head of the National Security Agency, which is a joke. National Security,
Yeah.
my ass. Anyways, he looks over to him. Right. You've been talking to your counterparts. They're supporting me 100%. Okay, I got to go. Walks out.
Wow.
He
Amazing.
truly he. You've got to go watch a replay of that, because if you haven't seen
I'll
that,
have to do that.
yeah, because he literally on Fox News, I forgot who the reporter was. She says, I can't fact check fast enough. He says,
Yeah.
give me a few minutes, come back to me. There was like 25 or 30 points that he flat out lied about.
Wow.
Have you seen the
Man.
Stephanopoulos interview?
I heard about it. Yeah.
Well, you gotta watch excerpts of that too, because he just like he talked about the mess at the airport. Oh, that happened 3 or 4 days ago. That was four or 5 days
Oh,
ago.
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
It was the day after. It was the day after. It's like 2 days at the most. This guy is totally. He literally, though, in his press conference on Friday said Al Qaeda, and then within the hour, both the Secretary of Defense and the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff had to come out and contradict him. They had to say,
wow.
well, they're not that bad, but yeah, Al Qaeda's there. Al Qaeda is in 15 provinces in Afghanistan right now.
Right.
He's more worried about the Al Qaeda in the Sinai Peninsula or the Al Qaeda in Yemen, or well, we got other places to worry about. We don't need. There's nothing there. Well, there is something there. There's an ore there that can be used for microchips.
Oh, silica.
Huh? Well, it's no. There's another type of metal. Gallium. That's it. They have the largest abundance of gallium out there, and that's why China and Russia want it.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. If you want to hear a song about the periodic table, go to YouTube and you get what's that guy's name? Ted Lair. He did Poisoning Pigeons in the Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did all those song parodies back in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, there was the one that did the parody, Weird Al.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Weird Al did a lot of them too, but
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, his press conference, man, I would have hit on that earlier. I thought you'd seen it. Oh my God, he just lied, and then he turns, and there's at one point he looks over at Kamala and she just kind of like, she didn't do it. She was there. She was at the press conference, but she just stood there. Occasionally you'd see her like, her eyes were kind of
rolling her eyes at him.
She wasn't rolling them. She was trying to keep. She was trying to keep from going. Yeah, she was trying to keep from rolling her eyes. There was one time I saw her actually smile behind her mask. There was no doubt about it. It was like, he's lost.
She's worried. Yeah. Oh yes, I heard about this. That they both were, Harris and the Secretary of Defense were wearing masks on the stage, and they were socially distanced. And it's like about virtual signaling.
Yeah.
Virtual.
Yeah. It's
virtue, not virtual.
And virtue signaling. And on top of that, as soon as the press conference was over, man, they literally ran that old man out the back door and onto a helicopter, and he was gone. They took him back to Camp David.
Oh, speaking of, did you hear about Biden kind of, he was supposed to follow the Secret Service to the door.
That clip. I saw that clip today. I saw it this morning.
Oh, boy. I heard about it.
He follows him through the bushes. He follows him through the bushes and then comes down the path.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Secret Service is sitting there pointing for him to go this way, and then the one agent was going around to cover it from that side. The other one was standing here, and he turns his back, and Biden takes off following the guy who goes through the bushes and then comes and walks down the walkway that way. The door was being held open for him no more than 2 foot away, and it was a straight shot into it. But he turns, and he goes up, he follows, there's some bushes up there, he goes up, makes a right-hand turn where the Secret Service member went in there and follows him, and then Secret Service like, oh shit, he's right behind me. So he hurries up to get to the door, And then it was just, it was another Charlie
Oh,
Fox. I was like,
jeez.
what the hell? Because they kept pointing right here, sir, right here, sir. And instead he says, I'm going up there because that's, they have a 2 to 3 positions where they cover angles, where they can always cover the angles, and and this is reminiscent of the Bay of Pigs too. Let's not forget to include the Bay of Pigs. They're talking about this being the biggest rescue mission since Dunkirk.
Yeah. Wow.
Unfortunately, we're not doing any rescuing.
No, that's true. That's true.
Biden is sitting in the White House.
Yeah, sucking his little thumb and.
Yeah.
Yep. So, I'm wondering if he'll make it through 1 year in office.
I don't think so. I think he'll be removed. All right. I see 3 scenarios of him leaving office. 1, he'll be removed under the 25th Amendment. I had 2, but now it's 3. 1, under the 25th Amendment. 2, impeachment. Or 3, he's already had a few strokes. He's had some aneurysms.
Yep. Yep.
I honestly think if they lose in November, if they lose the control of full control of if they lose control of the Senate and control
of
the House, I think he'll stroke out.
Yeah, but that's not until fall of 22.
Yeah,
so we got a whole another year before. Yeah, it'd be a whole because year, now the campaigns are just getting started pretty soon here.
Yeah. So I think honestly by the end of the year, this pressure, because you can see the pressure's getting to him now, and he's just who he reminds me of. If you go back and you watch some of the videos and some of the stuff, he reminds me of Adolf Hitler in the last 3 months or 4 months of World War II.
Right.
Same paranoid, schizophrenic, crazy, just over the top,
Right.
Same denial. Remember the press conference guy for Saddam Hussein? That was they ended up putting Baghdad Bob or something like that. I forgot.
Oh yeah.
He'd come out and says, No, they're not here. They're not there. They're not, And within an hour he was arrested, Even Saddam Hussein had left and went into hiding. And he's still saying, that's all propaganda by the Americans. They're not here in the capital. No.
Yeah.
And then he's arrested. Actually, no, he disappeared too. They don't know where he's at. But they did put him on one of that deck of cards. They put him on the Joker. Joker. They're comparing Biden to that guy now.
Oh boy. Wow.
Australia did it. I mean, I heard the Australians say that. So go to Sky News Australia. You'll get a lot different outlook, and they're outraged. Our allies are outraged. But you've got to see that press conference from Friday. So, anyways, sorry I took up so much of your show, but I've been I've been looking forward to this show.
Well, we managed to do just a little bit over an hour, and boy, this topic was the big topic of the week that took up pretty much the whole show. So, Lloyd, I want to thank you for your service and for co-hosting. And I want to thank all you guys in the chat. Thanks for coming. So, watch Lloyd's show tomorrow night over on his Bat channel. And he'll be on Mel's show later on today in about 3 hours. So,
about 3 hours, yep.
So, take care, everybody, and God bless you, and see you next time.
Goodbye, everyone.